Hi there, and welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Rosa Coelho, health coach, trainer, and teacher. I'm also founder of the Simply Strong programs and community. Here, we cut through the noise to simplify health, personal growth, and lifestyle, helping you to thrive with ease, confidence, and vitality. Listen in because you never know when you may hear something that changes everything. Hello, beautiful friend. Today I have such a wonderful episode for you. It's the first interview of the year. I'm joined by Monique Guffins from Feeling Fiercely Fabulous. She's an online coach who has trained hundreds of women and has seen the same patterns come up again and again when it comes to getting results. That's why I thought it'd be perfect for us to have this conversation at the start of the year. We talk about what holds women back the most, what it really takes to feel strong and confident again, and why so many women feel stuck even when they're doing all the right things. I wanted to mention that Monique is also a vegan coach, but that she works with all women, not just those who eat plant-based. And I want to mention that because vegan nutrition isn't my personal area of expertise. So if that's something you're interested in, I'll link her Instagram at Feeling Fiercely Fabulous in the show notes, along with the rest of her information. Okay, let's dive into this episode. Hi, Monique. Welcome back. Oh my gosh, third time. This is amazing.
I'm so happy to be here again. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, Monique, we're going to actually go right into it because it's January and I can feel the urgency in some people that are like, okay, this is the year I want to make changes. And so I was like, who better to have on than you? Because you've literally worked with hundreds of women, you mostly online, but you also have like some in-person clients, but mostly online, which means that you've worked with just such a huge number of women. And I think that's makes you the perfect guest to have on because we can look at, habits, trends that have helped women that you see that have really helped women to be successful and sometimes maybe not so successful. So this is going to be a good conversation.
Ready for it.
Amazing. So let's start with it. So you worked with women that are like around different ages, lifestyles. What patterns do you see mostly in women when they first come to you?
I think they're confused about what to do, especially nowadays, social media, right? But also like there's people talking about it, especially in January. It's such a hot topic, or, at work, in the grocery store, around the kids of like what to do. There's so many things flying by and the next shiny thing always comes up. So I think a lot of it is confusion and then frustration. I mean, it's past the middle of January. So anyone that might have started with new habits in the beginning of the year, maybe they're hard to stick to, and maybe they haven't worked, and then there's this frustration.
Yeah. I feel the same. That it feels like I always call it like I've started doing this little thing on social media where I'm like, another rule change. And then I talk about what the rule change is. We go from tracking to intuitive eating to it just like forever. And then it goes from protein to fiber. Like women are just like, what do I focus on now? I thought I just had, was starting to understand it. And then you go online and something's changed.
Something new came along, and people understand sometimes like just the basics. It gets really hard. Like back to basics, we get lost in all the things and all the trackers and all the new apps and all new supplements, and we can keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what do you notice that women tend to underestimate about what it actually takes to feel strong? So, when they come to you, what are they underestimating the most?
That it's going to take some time. I think, we're living in a very fast world. Like, we have Amazon Prime, we have microwaves. We want it now, or if you're anything like me, I want it yesterday. That's not how it works, especially if you come in the more seasoned phases of life where we're like 40, 50 years old, like us. And things take time. The body is not as quick in responding anymore. And it's not just the body, it's the mind too. It takes time to get ready for your new rules, and also not rules. It's a lifestyle. It takes time.
Yeah. Yeah,
And then effort. It's not easy.
Mm. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I was talking about a client who lost 12 pounds last year. And I think sometimes we underestimate how amazing that is, especially if you're in your 40s and above, to one. I think it's already a win to not put on the weight at that age because a lot of women who aren't focused on their health are actually putting on the weight. So the fact that you've already not put it on, but then to lose 12 pounds in 1 year, that makes a big difference in your physical body. And yet, to promote that, to be like, come come work with me and lose 12 pounds in 1 year. It's not exciting.
It's not sexy and it doesn't sell. If you say 12 pounds in a month, people are like, "Oh, that's not very much."
Mhm.
And that's just because we might not understand what it really means and not just losing the weight. It's like for most women, we're looking to lose some body fat. Just
Yeah.
weight. I mean, it sounds rough, but you can chop off your arm, you lost weight. Cut out particular macronutrients group and you lose water weight. But that's not the same. And when the client works with you, I know she's also been strength training. So she
Mhm.
lost 12 pounds, but she probably gained some muscle and lost even more
Yes.
pounds in body fat. So it's huge. But yeah, it doesn't make any
Yeah,
sense.
absolutely, and it's like looking at other measurements, like for her, she's so excited. Like her body looks different. She's like you said, she's put on muscle, so clothes are feeling fitting so much nicer. She said she's wearing clothes that she hasn't worn in 20 years. And so to recognize that it's not just that number on the scale, although I do believe the number on the scale is a form of measurement and one that's important to keep our eye on. I like to look at trends and like your fluctuations rather than the absolute number. But yeah, that 12 pounds felt slow, but what a huge difference, even in confidence, the way you carry yourself, all the things.
And just general health markers like her blood work, hormonal levels, all these
Yes.
things are so much better now. It's huge.
Yeah, it's such a good
Longevity.
point. Like, yeah, so where your body needs to be in order to start to release that weight means you've gotten healthy as well.
Yeah.
Hopefully. I mean,
Yes.
having said that, yes, we can do the quick fixes and lose the weight and not be healthier. That's true. But when you're doing it slowly and consistently in that way, chances are all your markers are improving. So in your experience, like what usually holds women back the most? Is it like the lack of knowledge? Like we did talk about confusion, but what else do you think really holds them back?
Jumping around from either program to program or quick fix to quick
Mm.
fix or just, from Instagram video to TikTok reel or it's the other way around. But like like there's just so much out there not staying with anything. I'm not even saying a strict
Mm,
plan, just anything. And self-care, putting themselves first. Because we're
mm,
now in that phase of life where some have children that they still rely on their parents very much. They also might take care of elderly parents, and
yes.
then have a career that's in the midst of things as well. So it's like there's so many things. There's no rest, there's no self care, and then it's really hard.
Yeah, it's just like being in that survival mode. I agree with that jumping from plan to plan, and especially when it comes to I don't know if you see this, but when women first come to you, it's jumping from workout plan to workout plan. Like the idea of doing the same strength workout, or I like to alternate between 2 workouts in the week, 2 strength workouts, but we keep that same plan for at least 6 weeks, and I find that could be hard. I still get a lot of requests for, "Can we do a follow along video?" And, like, what I'm like, "No."
And
Like
I said this before, I think, but like we're not here as a coach to entertain you. I mean, we're funny and we have
Mhm.
some good jokes, but it's hard work and it's boring work. Boring works is way better. It's about that progressive overload, like showing up time to time and not, you don't have to confuse anything. The world's confusing enough. Just keep going.
Yeah, let's talk about that. The difference between, like, a follow along video and, like, you're talking about that boring work and progressive overload. Let's talk about what that actually is for there's many women in their 40s and 50s that have never strength trained, but it's never too late. We have like many examples of women that actually started even in their 70s, and you can put muscle on into your 80s. Like it's incredible. So it's never too late to start. But let's talk a little bit about that for the woman that isn't quite sure what that means.
So really, if you have a strong plan, right, which you get ideally from a coach that
Mhm.
works with you and your starting point as well as your injuries, because let's be honest, at this age, we all we all have our weak points.
Yes.
And then it simply is following that plan and trying to increase the load. So even if you work with resistance bands, I mean, we prefer barbells, dumbbells, and kettlebells, but making sure you make it harder. Don't just go to the motions. And of course, when we get older, we might not have the joint strength anymore to go
Mhm.
for 300-pound squats. That's not necessary.
That's
There's a big
right.
fine line between going way too heavy and not going heavy enough. Women are way stronger than they think they are. So challenge your
I
body.
agree. Yeah, I agree. I often say like
whatever weight you're lifting, chances are you can lift probably another 30% at least in your workout.
So you need data.
You
And
know?
if you do a follow along type of
Mhm.
workout, it's really hard to keep track on what weights you're using but if you're doing it on pen and paper or some fancy app,
Yeah.
you can track your resistance and you can try and add to that. But if you don't document anything, you don't remember exactly what the weight was you did last time. So you're definitely not
Yeah.
progressing, not with a plan.
I agree. And what we mean by follow along is like those workouts that you turn on a video and you follow it. And I think there's like time and place for those things. Like I do a follow along mobility workout. But when it comes to strength training, like you need to know your rest period, you need to do the exercise in your tempo, which is hopefully like a slower tempo. And you don't know that instructor online, you're just working on. I just find if you're watching the video and you're strength training, you're not connected to your body. And we know that muscle mind connection is so important in strength training. And so, yes, you could do a follow along to get some cardio, to get your heart rate up, and there's benefits to that. But you're not going to gain the muscle from it as you will, because through strength training, and you need to have that intention. I always say your body doesn't know numbers, it knows the intention. So every repetition that you're doing, you're focused on that movement and building that muscle.
Absolutely love you say that. And I like to follow alongs for core as well. Personally, I just
Yeah.
dislike it and it's boring.
Yes, I agree.
I
Yeah.
don't want to do it, but then it works. But for lifting, you're not getting it. It's great to
Yeah.
start and it's great maybe when you're traveling. And again, it's hard to get going. But on a day-to-day basis, it's not the best way to go.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, I never like to like say be extreme and say like don't ever do this and don't ever do that for sure. But it's just looking and understanding the differences between those two styles. And if you're going to have limited time and you want to get stronger and you and you're going to use that time to put the effort in, you might as well do what is effective.
Absolutely. Absolutely love that. Yes.
A lot of women say they're doing like all the right things, but they still feel stuck. So when you dig a little bit deeper, what do you usually uncover? Because I've gotten that too. Like I'm eating healthy, I'm working out, I'm, maybe focused on sleep. I've reduced like I've done all the things and yet, still like nothing is shifting. But, we dig deeper and then what are some common things that you see that maybe are holding your clients back?
I think it's often lack of data. Again, they want to hit
Yeah.
the gym, but they don't write down their rep progression or their weight. So again, they're kind of stuck there or maybe disservicing themselves sometimes. And it's the same in nutrition. Like what's healthy, what's clean. Is that enough protein? Is that enough fiber? Is that enough
Mhm.
calories? Too many calories? Taste, licks, and bites. Fantastic Monday to Thursday. Weekends are different and data on the way of stress and sleep as well, like your overall lifestyle. And that sounds like a lot to track, but there's lots of ways to get help with that as well. And it doesn't have to be perfect every time, all the time. But I think a lot of times we're doing everything, yeah, a couple of times a week, but not actually every day, all day.
Yeah, that's like you and I are so similar in terms of the way we think. It's so funny. But that's mine too, is the data. And like I find even me personally, like I always say we lie to ourselves more than we realize. And it's not like intentional that we're lying to ourselves or that we're just not willing to face the truth. It's not about that. It's about having a super clear picture. Like for example, it wasn't until I started tracking, and even now, like, I don't track all the time, but I track a lot, and I might give myself, like, these little tracking breaks, but it always surprises me when I come back, I'm like, "Oh, I was actually slipped into under eating protein again," or I having a lot more calories, like, a perfect example is I got in this habit of having, like, these cheese and crackers snack, and I'm not even a snacker. I don't know where this started. It started, like, over the holidays probably,
Yep.
and then but I wasn't tracking. I started tracking that. I was like, "Oh, that was an extra, like, 4 or 500 calories every day," and at the end of the week, "Oh, that makes sense why the scale moves up. And I use the scale. So as soon as my scale goes up and it's outside of my kind of trend that I like, then I'm like, time to time to track and find what's going on. And I was like, wow, because an extra and it's all, these numbers just give us a guideline, but they say around 3,500 calories is a pound a week. So the fact that I was already putting on a couple of pounds, that snack made a lot of sense. And I wouldn't have known that without tracking. I would just lie to myself, but I'm eating exactly the same. Nothing's changed. I don't understand. Like, where's this couple pounds coming from?
Yup, that little bit here and there, but also, or what is different, like it's very cold where both of us are. And if you're not shoveling all of the driveways, you get less active, right?
Yeah.
Cold. I want to curl up with a blanket on the couch instead of being on my walking pad and working. The walks with the dog become a lot shorter. And it's not one day, it's every day a little bit. And that's for months. It adds up. You eat a little more, you
Yeah.
do a little less.
Yeah, that is such a good point. Like even myself with tracking steps in the summer, I'm between 15 and 20,000 without thinking about it. Like it's not an effort. I just love walking. In the winter, my marker is 10,000. So it does come down. So then the food impacts, you see the difference quicker with the food because the activity is down.
Yeah, and in the summer, I know you love going pedal boarding in your free
Yeah.
time. And now we might, I don't know, bake a cake. Whoops.
Yeah, your habits do change, but you're right, that's what I love about tracking, is, like, it just holds us it's not even holding us accountable, it just keeps us honest. Like, I've had many clients say to me, "Oh," because one of the questions they have to fill out on their weekly check-in is, "How many days did you hit your protein goal?" And I can't tell you how often I've had clients go, "Oh my goodness, I thought I hit it so much more than I had." And when I looked back, I realized actually I only hit it 3 days of the week and not the 5 or 6 that I thought that I had reached. So going back and looking at your data is super, super helpful. Have you found that with your clients at all? Like, do they surprise themselves sometimes with data?
Yeah. Or just like not tracking back and say, I hit my macros 6 out of 7 days. And then you go back and look what they at least tracked. I'm like, oh, but I ate the same thing. Like, I'm very much a routine animal, but I am not eating the exact same thing, including the exact amount of peanut butter, the exact amount of this
Mm,
every day for a week or a month. Nobody does that. Unless you're on a
yeah,
super rigid, strict, like medical diet, because you cannot go away from that.
right.
But if you're a human being, there is a cookie there, or there is maybe you missed a meal there because you were too busy. Like it's never the same.
Mm.
So if you don't track, that's fine. But then don't say you did everything because you missed a piece.
I agree. I agree. And especially those little things that you're talking about that we don't remember to track, like that little cookie or like, a lick of a peanut butter spoon could be another like 90 to 100 calories easily. Like those little things add up. And it's not about becoming paranoid with food at all, but it's just about I just like thinking that way you don't beat yourself up. If you have been doing those things and you know that you're way over calories and you've put on a pound or two, now you could be like, oh, that makes sense. Okay, what am I going to change? As opposed to that guilt cycle of like, oh, I'm so terrible. I'm this, I'm that. No, it literally is just data and it's just information. And it's, like this plus this equals this. So now that I know that, and now I can make a change without like having to go down the self-deprecation route, right? Just being like, oh, okay, I like to just be interested, right? Like interested in yourself. Like, oh, that makes sense. Okay, what can I shift now because I have these tools?
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, like in January, it's kind of like, that's the circle of the season where we're a bit more strict, if you want to call it that, or a bit more
Mhm.
on the data. But then there's times about the holidays or summer or vacation or just not a
Yeah.
phase in life or a season in the year where you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna be active. I know my basics, but I'm not gonna be as rigid and we'll see where this ends
Yes.
up. As long as you keep a little control, it's fine. You can always
Mhm.
backtrack and you live an amazing time and you have a good life. That's awesome too. Where you feel healthy, you're doing good. And then you go back to just being back on point, as you said, like, hey, I slipped in certain habits. Like
Yeah.
we're not saying this is the end all and be all. And I think people have to realize that too, because sometimes you get so strict. And if this is not the right time to
Mhm.
be super strict with your calories or protein, what can you do right now? What can we focus
Yeah.
on instead of beating yourself up?
Yeah. Okay, I totally love that because you're talking about, like, the ebbs and flows, and as opposed to, I gave up and I'm off my plan, and that's where the lifestyle comes in, like, even as coaches and trainers, we have times where we're super structured and you're in flow and it feels amazing, and then, like you just said, you're on vacation. That is part of the ebbs and flows and seasons of the year and of life, and whenever, like, I know whenever I'm off routine, I then love going back onto routine. Like, it feels good to get back to routine, but it also feels good to be off of routine. And that's not a start stop, that's life.
Yeah, I love that. And other things, maybe right now, your body needs to focus on recovery and sleep. And of course, that comes into like
Mhm.
nutrition, all the things too. But maybe that's really why you need to be is like, need to focus on waking up rested or feeling a certain way. You just know your body is off. You know your body best. So like getting back
Yeah.
to the in tune with that before you go all these extreme plans. It's not helpful.
Yeah. We talked at the beginning, especially about like how women feel really overwhelmed and there's like all this information. But what would you say actually matters most at the beginning? Like when someone is just getting started, where should they focus? Because you and I are so similar in that, like, we're about the simple habits that work over time. Like, we're not like here to, again, entertain or give quick fixes. Like, we know what works and that's what we've stuck with. And maybe on social media, it's not super like sexy or like sells or whatever, but it's the truth of what works.
I think if anyone can afford it or has the benefits of working with a coach, great. Because that way you can together find like
Mhm.
where's your life right now, meet you where you're at, and let's move forward from there. So if we can see as a coach after an intake conversation and maybe get some nutrition data and exercise data, I'm like, okay, we need to just start. And it sounds very simple, but for some it's not, with an extra 20 minutes walk a day or every other day,
Mhm.
or prioritizing eating, first of all, like
Mhm.
consistent instead of just eating a meal one day and then eating four
Yeah.
meals the next because now you're hungry. Before we even start talking about calories, protein, lifting in the gym. But if you're more advanced, then absolutely, let's go with that strength training plan. And maybe you just did too many random workouts and you just need to scale it back. Or maybe you
Mhm.
were not eating enough calories or too many for a little while. I mean, you need to dial it back. So really starting where you are, and it can literally be sleep, steps, and fuel.
Yeah, I love that. Instead of like a whole overall, sometimes like just looking at, and I always say like everyone starts at a different point, right? Like sometimes that's what I don't love about before and afters. And I've used them online before because I know they will sell and bring people to you, right? So then you can really coach them on a healthy attitude. But
I still
I
like to call them before and current.
ooh, I like
'Cause
that. Yeah.
aren't we still I mean, I know
That's
you still
right.
work on your body. I still working on things, and it's like, wait, we're not
I
done
love
yet. This is
I
my
l
current.
Yeah, that's so awesome, I love that. It's true, and, I always say, like, some women will come to you with already a baseline of experience. Maybe they've strength trained in the past, or maybe they've already tracked nutrition for a while, so they don't need to learn that. Because learning to track it takes time. If you're not used to apps, I find the technology can sometimes be frustrating for women, and it takes a little bit of, like, just you gotta give yourself that grace and that time to learn something new, and so that's why one person's first 6 to 12 weeks is gonna be very different to someone else's 6 to 12 weeks.
100%. And then life will live life. So maybe things happen within 2 weeks and now we have to pivot. Don't be afraid to pivot, whatever plan you have. But
Yeah,
pivoting is different than giving up
that's
or
right.
slacking because, some of us need a push to keep going certain things because it gets
Yes.
hard and gets annoying and you just want to give up. That's fine. But you need to get out of your comfort zone to really change something.
Yeah. We've kind of been touching on this, but after working with so many women, what's something you wish more women understood about their bodies and their ability to change?
Patience.
Yeah, back to the
And
patience.
what worked before, like,
Mhm.
we're not going backwards, right? We're going
Right.
forwards and we aging gracefully. We all had a photo in our 20s that we can't find anymore now because we have
Yeah.
all the data, but like Or maybe your 30s and right then you were nitpicking yourself. You looked and now you wish you were that person again.
Yeah.
That's not helpful. Like
No.
aging and embrace your body. And hey, maybe you feel and look better than 20 years ago. Love that.
Yeah.
Right. But that's not for everyone the case. So I think patience and understanding that your body got you here, went through all kinds of things.
Yeah.
And now we're here and let's move forward.
Yeah, I love that. On a personal level, like after years of coaching so many women, how has this work changed for you? Like in the way you train, the way you live, the way you take care of yourself?
Sleep. Felt
Yeah.
very hypocrite for a long time saying, you need to sleep. And I'm like, yeah, maybe I need to sleep too.
It's so funny that you say that because just honestly this year, I have finally like I've always tracked not everything, but I track a lot. Like I track my food, I track my steps, I track all the things. But one thing I wasn't tracking was my sleep. And I've recently, I would say in the last couple of weeks, started tracking sleep. And wow, like what a game changer. And look, I told myself all the stories like why I wasn't doing it. So one of the reasons I wasn't doing it is because I didn't like wearing my watch at night. I didn't like having anything on me. But you know what? I thought I'm gonna stop telling myself that story. It might be annoying for a night or two. And you know what? Wow. Like now I know that you need to sleep in order to wake up rested, you need to have 5 to 7 days of really great sleep. When you go to bed really matters, all the things. And, I was feeling puffy, my face, like you could kind of see the inflammation in my face. And it came down to sleep. As soon as I started sleeping so much better and really focusing on that, what a game changer in everything. All of a sudden, my brain fog was gone. I thought my brain fog was just due to perimenopause. Nope. It was down to the fact that I was not sleeping the way I should be. I was going to bed too late, not well rested, all the things.
Yeah, I'm snoozing too much, right? Like that, like having the bad habits there. And I used to didn't realize I went to bed and before my head hit the pillow, I was already asleep. And I thought that was success, right? Because you
Yeah.
hear so many females saying, or maybe I can't sleep. Like, what's that? Well, that was because my body was so exhausted. So
Right.
there's
Yeah.
this time frame there, like waking up, especially perimenopause, right? It's great, if not great, it's very common that
Yeah.
people wake up in the middle of the night, can't sleep. But that's something to really look into because it's going to hold you back. You're going to crave certain foods, right? It's the way it is.
Yes.
You are not adding muscle to your body, even though you're working hard because your body's
Yeah.
exhausted from the inside out. So don't underestimate sleep. I think that's what I've learned just from talking to other people and seeing it in others too, right? That
Yeah.
and just to consist, we have to walk the talk. We can be off the plan or whatever it is for a little bit
Yeah.
because we preach that that's okay, so that's good.
Yeah.
But we have to get back to our goals, because
Yeah.
otherwise it's me. We need
You know what? One thing I want to touch on sleep, like because again, I've kind of become obsessed with this topic, is of course it can be perimenopause. Like our hormones are, we're low on estrogen, progesterone, all the things, right? So that can definitely impact sleep. But I don't know if you found this with your clients, but I have found it usually comes down to sleep hygiene, like the habits you have the night before, but also like how what you eat can impact your sleep. So if you're not eating again that enough protein, or you're eating like a carbohydrate heavy snack at night, that you can get this cortisol spike in the middle of the night, and that's what's waking you up. It's not always necessarily our hormones that to do with perimenopause.
absolutely, or it's the coffee you have at 4 o'clock, and some people can absolutely do
Mhm.
that. Other people should not.
Yeah.
Alcohol is another thing. Yeah, it'll make you fall asleep for most of us very quick, but it doesn't keep us asleep, and the body is doing all kinds of things to neutralize the threat instead of resting and sleeping. And then the other thing is just not having a good silent place to sleep, not giving yourself the time
Mm.
to sleep because your mind's racing. You
Yeah.
maybe one eye still open because the kids aren't home yet. All the things, and really
Yeah.
giving yourself permission to sleep.
Yeah, I
You're not
love that
lazy when
one.
you're sleeping.
Yeah. Okay, Monique, so that's you and I for 2026, hey, is like sleep. You and I are on it. That's for sure my
Sounds
main
so
habit
simple, and
focus.
it's not.
Yeah, I'd have to say that for me is the one habit that I, previously didn't take seriously enough. So for me, because the other ones kind of feel easy now, but if I went back, I probably would have made this a priority a lot sooner for sure.
But you don't know what you don't know. And also,
You know,
again, we can't focus on everything.
yeah. Yeah, it is. It's just all a process. Okay, so I have one more question for you, a question I like to ask everyone, and you've answered this one a few times, so maybe you'll even have a different answer. But before I get to this question, I just want to say, like, how can people reach out to you? Because you do coach women online. So, and I mentioned at the beginning that you are a vegan coach. You work with women who are also not vegan. But if someone's listening that is vegan, I always say that's not my area of expertise. So they may want to reach out to you in particular because of that. What's the easiest way for them to get a hold of you?
On any social media platform, I'm Monique Guffins. My website is Feeling Fiercely Fabulous.
Perfect.
If you want to feel that way, reach out.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. And I'll put it in the show notes too, in case someone didn't get that. Okay. Or they're driving, I love driving, listening to podcasts.
Yeah, or
Okay.
working out.
Right. Yes, definitely working out too. That's fine. Or walking.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the final question I ask everyone. Can you think of a moment or something that you read that changed everything for you? Because I really believe in these moments that make us just think a little bit differently or lead us to a decision. And yeah, and they just kind of shift our trajectory.
Macros. When I bought my
Ooh.
first online fitness plan, right? Was always lifting, was always doing the thing, was already plant-based, but learning about macros was, I think I've said it before, but eye-opening.
Yeah, I'd agree with that too. And what's
Just learning
cool.
what they are. I didn't know what is a protein, what is I knew, but not
Mm,
really, and definitely didn't look into my own lifestyle. I had some
yeah.
changes to make.
Well, you know what? You've been at this game for a long time, like me. Like I've been at it for 20 years. And when we started, these apps are actually still relatively new. Like I'd say the last 5 years, maybe maximum, like where people really started tracking macros. Of course, some people are like always early adopters, but I say like the masses probably only in the last 5 years. And so it's been so fun to watch this profession shift. Like technology can be so wonderful. I think it's been.
Amazing. And also, like, I think both of us, we don't have a background of being like a really heavy school athlete. At least I'm speaking for myself.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there was no plan in my workouts. There was no coaching about what kind of to eat or not to eat or the amount
Mhm.
or when, and not even in really broad terms. So yeah, people would throw out these things, and I had protein powder. So I had a shake a
Yeah.
couple times a week. Like,
Yeah. I
that was
love
good
that. I mean,
enough.
like I became a nutritional advisor, so I knew a lot about, what in the beginning I was really interested in the power of foods and how healing foods are and that we need like all these nutrients. So like healthy eating was what I used to speak about all the time. And then I started following the paleo diet because it was like just nice to have that structure. I really believe this idea of through structure comes freedom. And I don't eat that way anymore. But that's what it was about back then. There was no like weighing your food and making sure that you got the right amounts of nutrients. And that's just been the evolution of this incredible profession. And again, technology being used for a lot of really good things.
Yeah, and just being in like having the data to fall back on, like what things I
Yeah.
ate made me
So
feel a
fun.
certain way.
Yes.
Forget about the
Yeah.
scale or anything. It was just like I didn't feel good, but I didn't know because I never put one and one together.
Yeah, game changer. Monique, that was so fun. We can always chat. Well, we do chat a lot,
We'll
but
chat.
we could easily keep going.
I will do this
Thank you.
again.
Yeah, thank you so much because I really feel like this is so much value for the women listening, and I just really want to encourage whoever's listening, like save yourself time if you I just think sometimes we hold back so much in investing in ourselves. And whether you coach with me or whether you coach with Monique or whether you coach with someone else that you trust, it doesn't matter. But it's amazing the time. And think of it more of not investing in a program, but investing in education and a course for yourself. And I think that's just such an important mindset shift.
Absolutely love that. It's so
Cool.
true.
All
Invest
right,
in
Monique.
yourself in 2026.
Yeah, nice one. Okay, have a great day.
All right.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for listening in today. I know time is precious and I'm grateful you shared yours with me. It would mean the world to me if you felt an impact, a moment of inspiration, or learned something new. If you would share it with those you care about and leave me a review on iTunes. I'd love to know what spoke to you or what you'd like to hear more of. Your sharing and leaving a review would help so much on this journey to making an impact on as many people as possible. It's worth it. I know from experience, There are moments when something we hear has the possibility of changing everything.